Here is a video tutorial on how to make a pivot table and do the data manipulation for the calculating biodiversity assignment. So this is for those of you not doing the parking lot activity but doing the Gorongosa Park biodiversity. Just to make it easier to access the data, if you haven't found it yet, I went ahead and imported it into my Google Drive, and so you can make a copy for yourself just by clicking the link down here where it says Wildcam Data. And there's also the interactive map and then the tutorial for the Google Sheets. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and open up the data in Google Sheets. So this is what it looks like when you open it up. I notice I've highlighted a couple of the columns here. There's the vegetation type and species. So those are the two main ones that you're going to need to use. You'll also be using species count as well. Let's highlight that one. Okay. So to make the pivot table, this is where the directions on the paper tutorial are a little bit different because I think in older versions of Google Sheets you would go to data, but now you go to Insert, go down to Pivot Table. Okay, it's going to go ahead and leave it on New Sheet, so it's going to create a new sheet for you at the bottom, and it'll create a blank pivot table for you. So you're going to find those columns, those values that I just mentioned. So first we're going to start with vegetation type. Go ahead and click and drag that over to rows and let it go. Okay, so now you can see there's the 4 different types of vegetation. And then we need our species name, so we're going to grab species and we're just going to put that below the rows. Okay, and then now you see the species all listed there, and if you scroll down you'll see that those are all separated out by the different vegetation areas. Okay, so that's why they repeat. Okay, and then of course we need now our data. So the data that we're using is the species count, and we're going to drag that to values and just put that under there. And then we're going to leave it as sum, so it's adding up all of the numbers of species that are found in that particular area together here. So you see that there's 9, and the nice thing about this is it even totals it for you at the bottom here, so it gives you a total of the number of individuals within each type of species, which we're going to need that. Okay, so now we have our pivot table that we need, and you're going to be adding in some additional columns here based upon the information that you're going to need. So the first thing you're going to need to calculate out is the Shannon Diversity Index. So to do that, you're going to need to find the abundance, species abundance. So that's the PI value. Okay, and then you're also going to need to get the natural log of that, so we're going to do that next to it. Okay, and then next to that is where we're going to multiply those two things together for each species. I'm going to use the little asterisks to symbolize multiplying. Oops, there we go. Okay, I'm just going to make those bold for their headings. And I don't know why it does this, but it takes out all of the lines. So I'm just going to put them back by clicking on this little square, put back my rows. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so we're going to start here. So the first vegetation type is my floodplain grassland. Okay. And then aardvark, so there's 9. Okay, so to find the abundance of my aardvark, I'm going to go equal sign. Okay, so you can use that, or you can also use the little function button over here. And then the abundance, right, if you remember, it's the number of individuals in that particular species. So I'm going to click on the box, the cell with that 9 value there. You can see it put the C2, the location of it. And then you divide that by the total number of individuals in that particular community. So I'm going to go down and I am going to just type in that same number down there, see for the floodplain grassland total. So the 18639, hit enter. I go back up, so I see this big long number here for my pi value. I'm just going to leave all the decimals there for now, and I'll show you how we can make that smaller to less significant digits for some of the later values. Okay, so you just have to do the first one, and then you're going to click this little dot in the corner of that cell and just drag it down. Okay, and you might have to do this a couple times to get the whole thing. So you can see it just filled in all the cells below it with the value, and it's just changing where it's getting this number from. So, right, so baboons, so now it's using this 5695 to calculate that out. So let me go ahead and finish that all the way down to wildebeest. Okay, so now all of my PI values are done. Okay, and then now I need to find the natural log. So I'm going to go over, start with my aardvark again, do equal sign, type in ln, which will grab the function for that. You can see that actually will pull it out. And then you need to do a parentheses here for this one. Grab that PI value that you just calculated out, so cell D2 for the aardvark. Close the parentheses and hit enter. Okay, and then there you go, natural log of this number. So we're going to do the same thing again. You're going to grab that corner circle, drag all the way down to wildebeest, and it'll fill in all the values. Okay, and then now that we have these two, now we can find the next value, right? So now we're multiplying these two together. Okay, so again, equal sign. And now that we have these already done, you can just go this times, so this E2 cell times D2, and you see that goes in there. Okay, and then hit enter. And you'll notice it's still a negative number, so that's fine. It should be negative. And then, and you notice, right, so we don't really need to have it out to this many place values. So if you go up here to the toolbar, and you'll notice next to the $ parentheses, there's these two buttons here. So if you click the one over on the left side, it says decrease decimal places. We're going to go ahead and click that. Go ahead and we'll go to 4 decimal places. Okay, and that's fine. Okay, now we're going to go all the way down. Again, all the way down that column to wildebeest. Okay, so we're just right now doing the floodplain grassland. Okay, so now this is that value for here, but the formula for the Shannon index is actually, you need to determine the sum of all of these together. Okay, so at the bottom of this list, you just go equal, type in sum, and actually it's already like, you know, suggesting that for you. So I am going to say yes. Okay, just click enter, and there we go. Okay, so now that we have that, oh, I just realized I forgot to do the species richness value. Okay, so we're going to actually make another table over here to the side, and I'm going to put vegetation type. We need richness, the Shannon diversity index, and then evenness. If you're wondering where I'm getting this from, I'm just copying this down from the table on page 4. Yeah, okay. So those 3. And so now we've done the floodplain grassland. So I'm going to type that in there. Vegetation type. Okay, so to get the richness, that is another formula that you can use, and basically that just remember is the type, the number of different types of species in a particular community. So for that, you can count them up by hand if you want to, or I can show you the formula for that is count if, and then open parentheses, and we're going to grab all the species names here. Okay, so all the way from aardvark to wildebeest. And then this one doesn't have any blank, but if there were any blank cells, you want them to like throw those out. You don't want them to count those. So if you put like quotation, asterisk, quotation, it'll only grab cells that have text in them that aren't blank. So you can put that there, or I think you can leave it off and see what happens. But anyway, hit enter, and okay. So we have 33 different species in the floodplain grassland. So that's what we got there. Okay, and then for the Shannon Diversity Index, so for that value is actually needs to be the negative of this value of the sum here. So I'm going to put a little negative sign, or you can just type it, but I'm actually going to refer to that cell, and then hit enter. Okay, and then for this value here, take it down to just the 10th place. Okay, so my diversity index is 2.0. Okay, so now I've got my richness, my Shannon diversity, and then we're going to calculate evenness. Oh, but to calculate evenness, I'm going to move this over one more. Whoa. Okay. Let me go back. That didn't want to do that. Okay. I'm trying to do this without any edits, so hopefully I can do this without any cuts. Okay, there we go. I just wanted one. I don't need to move it over one more. There we go. Okay. I need to figure out my H max value in order to figure out evenness, because yeah, it's because you need that number for the evenness. All right, so for the H max, you take the natural log. So I'm going to say equal the natural log again, and that's of your richness value. So in this case, of 33. Okay, so parentheses again, and hit enter. Okay, and then I'm also going to take this down to, so we'll just do 2 decimal places here. Okay, so your evenness is going to be your diversity index divided by the H max value. Okay, and so the closer to 1 this number is, then the more even your community is. The closer to 0, the less even. So if we look, this looks like it's kind of in the middle there. And if we look at these numbers, it's, yeah, I mean, you have some, maybe about half the species have pretty low numbers, and the other half of the species have pretty high. So yeah, I kind of look at it that way. All right, so you're going to go ahead and do the same thing for the other 3 areas. So the Limestone Gorge, the Miombo Woodland, and the mixed Savanna Woodland. All right, so I hope that helps, and hopefully you've picked up some new Google spreadsheet skills. If you want to check your work, I have an answer key for this table here. So, or if you just get short of time, and ultimately it's just kind of knowing what these terms mean and how we use these numbers. Okay. Okay. All right. Happy data mining.